All right, we're back. So, what is the purpose of the technologies?
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha wave frequency thought patterns. The sneaky suit? Why, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projecto emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrae pulse desensitizer. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. Spine. I think there was a story once where a band of murderous thugs sought these things. They had them all the time in the story. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't stop the think tank either.
Huh. Was there other data transmitted in your threat broadcast?
Yes, my overly aggressive cammed-up broadcast was designed to keep reinforcing the forget, fear, rinse, and repeat program. Oh, and the get me the things to castrate your only possible escape attempt. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than I could the other visitors. Only so much science can do when you started talking to them. You're really quite difficult to ignore, you know. It's because you're, well, rather intriguing, if you'll forgive an old brain for saying so.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. But the think tank downloaded the schematics, not the items. They can rebuild them.
Oh, that means my plan is a total failure. That is unfortunate. Oh well, at least I tried.
I'm curious about some things.
Yes, this is getting interesting. You are just filled with these little slices of curiosity, aren't you?
Time for me to go, I guess.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
And leveled up. Cool. I'm just curious, is there anything we really need to boost our special skills for? Disguise, your true nature, okay. Companions take less damage. Okay, movement speed is greatly increased while sneaking in light armor. That's good. Yeah. When sneaking, your companions move with max sneak skill. That's decent. Both combat and movement speed of all your companions by plus 10%. Also kind of good. Mastered being a rat in a trap. Yeah. Fire resistance. Alright, well let's get a Pyromaniac, I guess. Where's that at? Cool. Oh boy. It's alive.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been, Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
So, I've always thought his voice sounds like oddly familiar. I want to say, I mean, almost a little bit like Stewie from Family Guy, but there's no way it's Seth MacFarlane. I must have heard this voice somewhere else. Are you my brain?
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Sure. Why are you such a dick?
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoy that little moment?
Of course, you're responsible. You're my brain.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are.
How are you gonna call me ape-like? But you're the source of most of those glands, unless you're arguing that my thyroid is to blame.
Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand.
If you understand it, I have to understand it. Isn't that how that works? Admit it, you're just as glandular as I am.
Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it.
Don't you want to be reunited? I thought you'd be happy to get back into my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
What about the good things? What about a cool breeze on your cheek? The smell of food? Love?
Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. Oozing hormones.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So we're in an impasse. You can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way you think.
Indeed. Quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
I think we have to trust each other and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're separated.
I suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for some more wild adventures? We got Wild Wasteland on. It'll be fun.
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Why? They promised to put us back together once I did everything they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
Hey, you're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
If the think tank won't hold up their bargain, we'll make them. Let's go.
Right. Look out, think tank. This brain is coming out of its jar. I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Clyde will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
Whoosh. That is the sound of whooshing. All right. I wonder if I can get like a full set of Dr. Mobius's outfit. That'd be fun to confront them with, wearing that. Gonna steal all of Mobius's drugs. And hopefully he's got an outfit lying around here somewhere. Scientist scrubs. Dang, Mobius, you got a bit of an addiction on your hand here.
I'm running out of floor space for my calculations.
Alright, we got Klein's glasses.
Floor space for my calculations.
We just need Mobius's glove, scrubs, and glasses. I think we've already gotten a few of them from Higgs Village.
Electrons attached to the neutron. The neutrons attached to the meson. Meson's connected to...
Don't you like me anymore?
What the hell is that? Dr. Mobius glove.
I'm imagining all sorts of imaginary numbers right now. Oh, I see you and your brain reached a compromise. How pleasant. I hypothesized after the indignant frequencies my receptors had recepted, such a partnership-based conclusion would be low on the likely scale.
My brain told me the think tank needs to be stopped. Can you help?
If I recall, I had a plan that was working, whatever it was. I don't think it reached fruition. I would recall fruit if it had happened. I wasn't trying to kill them, just keep them out of trouble. What was that plan? Blast! I probably wrote it down on the floor somewhere.
What was the plan?
Something ingenious and needlessly complicated, I expect. I may have already told you and forgotten it. I forgot I had forgotten pencils until one day I found one. Spent days studying its purpose before my memory circuit kicked in. Felt quite silly.
Any tactics I can use?
That will be difficult. It would be like fighting 5 scaled-down versions of me that have better depth perception. And they have an arsenal of vivisectors, brainial beams, and a rather nasty ray that can make your atoms do a happy dance. If you can survive those highly improbable odds and ends, then deceasing them is definitely an option. Although I doubt killing them would do anything except make you feel better. Or let you brag to other humans about your primal violentness.
What about not requiring violence?
Well, you could try and appeal to their humanity. That's a tired cliche. And really, when they were humans, they weren't very good humans.
I'd like to make the effort.
Well, there's many things they have forgotten, sitting in their bowls. Friendship, the thrill of discovery, love, masturbation, the usual. Much like your brain, I am certain there is something you can spark within each of them. Memories, hormones. A wise man once said, "The eyes do more than see. Make them see, if you can. Or, if not, you can always make them succumb to fear." It certainly worked for me, for a time. Then you came along, and bravery and/or desperation trumped that little idea. Back to the drawing board, I suppose. Or is this the end? Hard to tell.
Scare them, how?
Oh, tell them I'm still alive. We had a nice chat, and we agree on a few things. That's true, isn't it? Or you could kill me and lie about it. Either way, it would be interesting. And if you are partial to lying and deception, well, you could tell them a ludicrous lie. The more over the top, the better. That's my experience. They're more than a little gullible. Better make it convincing, though, or it'll be the dissection table and vivisectors for you. And if you speak of me, please try and make me look good. I am Dr. Mobius, after all, not some lab assistant teacher's aide.
Can I have a mentat?
Why, of course you can. I am well versed in the science of sharing. Well, when not chemmed out of my sphere.
Alright.
Indeed. The goodbye part of our little chat, then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
Is there anything else? Doesn't look like it. Alright. Let's head back to the sink. I knew it was down here somewhere. Emergency shutdown terminal.
Might I be of service?
Switch on the personalities.
Do you, sir?
Yep. Repaired.
The commies have eyes everywhere, citizen. And that means they're not just commies. They're peeping toms.
That's some pretty sound logic. Dr. Mobius's glasses. Do we have Klein's glove too? Oh, we do. Thought there was a challenge for wearing all of these. Okay, well, jukebox.
Was the haps.
Found a sound wave. Cool. Is there anything I wanted to bring? Find samples for the biological research. What? What am I missing for him? Ah. I wanted to just finish all the quests before we completed the DLC. Alright, well, we're heading out. Run, Mobius, run.
You got some plans for me.
Tried Brock.
Three angry death clouds make for a lot of reconstructive surgery.
Is that everything? Return the samples. What other samples?
You got some plans for me. You got some plans for me. You got some plans for me.
I don't understand. I brought you the dried seeds. Alright, whatever.
Greetings, citizen. Well, if you know what the word proletariat means, do you know what that makes you? Well-read and erudite. For a communist.
What did we have here originally? Oh yeah, it was the sonic emitter. Alright. Let's go deal with these guys. Dr. Klein awaits. Why is it red? Why is it red? Also, how is your name related to circles?
You should really see, Dr. Klein. We're all awaiting the results of your experiment.
I'm actually here for a breather. No, enough of that.
Klein's an impatient man. Wouldn't keep him waiting. Klein awaits, as do we all.
Blindly operate on any poor animals recently?
Why, yes, although the term is research. Thank you. Look at these. They seem to be found inside some of the specimens here at Big Mountain. I notice these results more and more now that I know to look for them. Come back anytime, and I'll show you what else I've discovered.
You discovered blood.
Until...
Well,
the lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped?
found my brain, now you and I are gonna settle things.
I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again.
There's some things we should discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so
Wait a
many
minute, I
questions.
just realized I didn't put my brain back in. I was supposed to do that. Whoops. Big oof.
While you were out, I spent 6 hours trying.
You require some addition.
Yeah,
Right.
swap body parts. Place your heart back in your chest. Your heart is back in your body, but some advanced technologies remain. You're less resistant to poison. 50% robots are only somewhat confused by you. 25% less likely. But on the bright side, healing items, chems are twice as effective.
Your coffee cup up on a shelf. When I finally got it down, I was so happy.
You require some
Yeah. Spine? Your spine is back in your body, but some advanced technologies remain. Your torso can now be crippled again, but your strength and damage threshold bonuses have doubled.
I cried. I hate my life.
Wait, so can I not put my brain in yet?
You require some addition.
I'm confused. Alright, fuck it. I guess, back to this. Sorry, Klein. Where did we go?
Lobotomite.
I found my brain. And you and I are gonna settle things.
I recommend watching now.
Yeah. Alright, so where were we? Things we need to discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments.
Mobius and I talked it over. Well, maybe you should confer with your colleagues first.
Nonsense. Confer, colleagues. Those are two words I do not recognize.
Dr. Klein, I must intersect. Please, do not harm the lobotomite.
I'm not going to harm it. I'm going to dissect it until it's dead. Why the sudden intersection, Dala?
I cannot stand a sweet breathing organism breathing in and out to suddenly not breathe. We must keep it alive. For study. Slow study.
Dala, these vocalized pauses are unlike you. What do you care?
Klein, you know, this lobotomite, it's a great sounding board. You respect ideology, right? This one's, well, it's got good ideas.
Silence, Dr. O. This is a think tank decision. Save your objections until after I have decided our course of action.
You know what, Klein? Stick a straw in your tank and suck yourself. Long and deep. And my name is Zero. Yeah, a big, fat zero with a slash through it.
The slash as a designator of... Why, that is brilliant. But how did you...
The lobotomite taught me that. Taught me a name is more than, that I should take pride in things like names. And you know what? Forget it, Klein. I hate you. And your theory of brain-gill beam oscillation? The Chinese had it first, you copycat.
How dare you? Brainial beam oscillation was solely my discovery. I expressly told you that and deleted all evidence to the contrary. It's 2-8. Why are you acting like this? You've never refused to commit necessary surgery before. And this lobotomite needs its surgery.
Words. Silence.
A noble speech, but there is no room in my vocabulators for friend and lobotomite in the same sentence. The very concept, revolting. Perhaps you are irradiated with camaraderie radiation. We have chems for that. We can save you from your emotional addiction.
If I may, I feel as if I must be the voice of reason here. This lobotomite is much like us. Regarding even animals and pets as nothing more than avenues to promote science. There is good here. Instead of ending its life on the table, we should prolong its suffering in the name of science. Like good old Gabe, the finest of lab specimens.
Why am I even listening to you fools? Enough of this mutinous chorus. If there's a word I hate, it's mutiny. And the word jism, which never made any sense to me. It's ridiculous putting j and z together like that. Nonsense! I count as 5. Like the mighty human hand I once had, with its 5 penises clenched in a fist.
Clenched hard. Sounds to me like your math is wrong and the odds aren't good.
Nonsense! The mathematics of this situation are on our side, lobotomite. I believe... No, wait. Carry the 2, then... If this were a democracy, I would be concerned. We are too scientific for that. So just surrender.
It's not a democracy, it's a research facility, and over half your colleagues dispute your findings.
You dare use logic against me?
I do. Here's the deal. I'm not going to surrender. You are.
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
Made it squirm. I want to hear a scientist say that in an interview. We made those atoms squirm. I can bring the Mojave, this world, to you. You'll be safe, and you'll still be able to experiment.
For you? And for science? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us.
So, ending dialogue?
Thank you for what you have done. The helping, that is. We like that. I feel an odd emotion. Platitude? Attitude? No, wait. Gratitude. That's it.
Well, goodbye. Dala.
The teddy bear lobotomite returns. My teddy bear. How can I assist in relieving your curiosity?
Nope. Nothing else. Zero.
So as Mobius as twisted as he looked in person? Can't believe you entered the Forbidden Zone and lived. None of us can.
8. I mean, you don't really speak, so sorry.
The lobotomite who saved us. Hello.
Hello.
Why, yes.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, Cazador. Alright, wow. Pursuit of wisdom stands above all else, and the think tank's knowledge can help you seek yours. You deal plus 10% more damage with energy weapons and gain plus 1 intelligence.
As it had been in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it, and keeping its discoveries safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Sync Central Intelligence Unit was impressed by the amount of exploration the courier had undertaken. Facilities believed lost, destroyed, or ones that had simply gotten up and walked to new locations had been rediscovered by its intrepid new master. Internally, the artificial personality debated as to whether it preferred the old management to the new, and concluded that the courier's thorough approach to research and investigation was admirable and worthy of its respect.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better Scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of Mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The Sync atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
The book chute continued to devour all seditious materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the Showboat. One of them eventually transferred to the Lightwave Dynamics plant, and began a long, unrequited affair with one of the holograms.
The Sync continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magnetohydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean. Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub.
There's blood.
Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain. from Sonic Invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches.
Both?
Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier ran through the X8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was. This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after, the stealth suit had left it without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
X8. As until her I'm in heat programming circumvented her stay routine and loped into the Mojave. There she ran across Rex, who had been following the courier just as she had. They barked for a while and realized they had a lot in common. Two of them constructed a litter of cyber pups, a small army of Boston terrifiers that gnawed and devoured anything in their path.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, The courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sync sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the courier had to walk alone.
Already did it. Wow. You've lost a brainless perk. Big brained. Brain is back in your body, but some of the advanced technologies remain. Your head still cannot be crippled. Sweet. But you are only 10% more resistant to addiction now. Surprisingly, your damage threshold has improved by 10%. You've acquired the Big Mountain Transportal Ponder. It's capable of transporting you between the Mojave Wasteland and Big Mountain. To return to Mojave or go back to Big Mountain from Mojave, simply equip the thing, pull the trigger, yep, sends you back here. Alright. Alright, you know what? Let's get that heating coil of doom. I want to see what that is. Heating coil. Oh, is it a weapon? What is it?
You took care of them brains pretty good, baby. Nice.
Nice. Alright. Hurry back with that seed.
With the brains dealt with, soon we can spread our rule across the Mojave. All will eat burned toast in despair.
Oh, man. Alright.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to cut here. I'm going to look into whatever that heating coil of doom is. And, looks like, where is it? Yeah, that's going to be remaining there for the rest of this series. Well, we'll see you all later.